Courtney, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? All right, so would you believe me if I told you there was actually a time where they had real pound-for-pound lists with almost no bias? The best fighters in the world actually got the credit they deserve, regardless of what their race was. Well, guys, we had lists like that. And believe it or not, it wasn't that long ago. It was before the emergence of social media and before Oscar De La Hoya purchased The Ring magazine. A lot of people don't even know that Oscar De La Hoya, he owns The Ring magazine. Now, normally I wouldn't even talk about their lists. In fact, you guys have never heard me talk about The Ring magazine's pound for pound list. I will talk about ESPN's because once again, ESPN, they are very influential and they have the largest sporting network in the country. So if you're purposely misleading the boxing fans, especially the new casual fans that have just been introduced to the sport, you definitely have to be exposed. And just a quick correction from the last video, since I'm talking about ESPN. I started the video off, I accidentally said that Jermell Charlo was undefeated. But the point I actually was trying to make, and I was going to erase it, but it was too late. I had already uploaded the video, so I figured I can explain it in my next video. The point I was trying to make is there are currently 3 undisputed champions in the sport of boxing right now. And ESPN, they only have the one undisputed champion that just came off of a loss on their list. Meaning they have Canelo on their list, but they don't have Jermell Charlo or Devin Haney on their list. Meaning Jermell Charlo and Devin Haney, unlike Canelo, they're not coming off of a loss. In fact, both of them are coming off of their biggest win of their career. But I told you guys in my last video about this whole pound for pound list with ESPN. I told you I wanted to make a separate video about the Ring magazine's pound for pound list. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is the history of the Ring magazine's pound for pound list. The Ring magazine is very irrelevant today, but there was a time where the Ring magazine and KO magazine, I'm talking about once again before social media became like really big, it was a time where they had the most reliable pound for pound list in the whole sport. Now, before we go deeper into talking about that history, I wanted to tie this in with what Devin Haney said because it was just perfect timing. I was already going to work on this video about the Ring magazine's pound for pound list. And then Devin Haney, he puts out this tweet. Devin Haney is the undisputed champion. He holds all of the belts. And when I say all, I truly mean all. He even has the Ring magazine belt. So now that you guys understand all of that, let me go ahead and read exactly what Devin Haney said. He said the Ring magazine could keep their belt. You won't see me with it before or after this fight. Now let me explain to you guys why Devin Haney is throwing the Ring magazine's belt in the garbage. I want you guys to look at this list. Now guys, this is just mind-blowing to me. The Ring magazine, who has Devin Haney as their Ring champion, the undisputed champion in the lightweight division, they don't even have Devin Haney on their own list. But they have Lomachenko on the list and very high on the list. And he doesn't even have the Ring title. Man, this is one of the most egregious situations I've ever seen. I mean, this is a different type of disrespect. This is like some 1930s type of disrespect. And once again, this is not covert type of racial double standards. This is overt, right in your face. They're not trying to hide it. And I keep telling you guys, the reason why they're not trying to hide it is because they notice that no one is ever speaking on it, which is why it's great that Devin Haney is shining light on this. And now you have a lot of other people that are exposing these extremely racist type of pound for pound lists. There's no other word to describe it because this is racism at its finest. If a reporter were to ever ask anyone that put this list together, how do you justify not having Devin Haney on the list, but having Lomachenko on the list when Devin Haney is the undisputed champion and he's your Ring champion? The purpose of giving Devin Haney the Ring magazine belt is to imply that he is the #1 lightweight in the division. So if you were to ask whoever put this list together, how do you justify doing something like that? They would be stuck. There would be no way they would be able to answer that question without completely contradicting themselves or just flat out telling the truth. Now we talk about how we even got here in the first place, the history of the pound for pound list, especially when it comes to the Ring Magazine's pound for pound list. Because you guys have to also remember, while everyone has their own pound for pound list today, there was a time when the only two lists that people really paid attention to was the Ring Magazine and KO Magazine. Once again, this was before Oscar De La Hoya purchased the Ring Magazine. Now, Oscar bought the company in 2007. So what I want to do, guys, is I want to show you how the pound for pound list looked before Oscar De La Hoya bought the Ring Magazine. Let's start with the years 2000 to 2002. Now, what you will notice consistently right away is almost every single year, the pound for pound list was dominated by black boxers. And yes, that includes Felix Tito Trinidad. Tito is a black Puerto Rican, just like Vasyl Lomachenko is a white Ukrainian. You're never going to hear anyone say Lomachenko is not white, he's Ukrainian. So with that being said, you can clearly see on all 3 years, the majority of fighters on this list are black, right? There's 10 fighters on the pound for pound list, and at least 5 to 7 are black, depending on what year we're talking about. Now, I'll go ahead and just read off one of these lists just in case one of you guys are only listening and you're not watching the screen right now. So 2000, you had number 1, Shane Mosley, going all the way down. It starts with Shane Mosley, Felix Trinidad, Roy Jones, Oscar De La Hoya, Diego Corrales, Naseem Hamed, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Lennox Lewis, Eric Morales, and Bernard Hopkins. Now, every year except for 2005 on the Ring Magazine's list, all look just like these 3 lists I'm showing you right here. Well, actually, now you guys are looking at 2003's list. Now we fast forward to 2006 list. And by the way, you will also notice almost every single year when the list came out, a black boxer was pound for pound number 1. Temporarily, there was a time where they had Oscar De La Hoya at number 1. And I use the word temporarily because it was very short-lived. As soon as they start calling him number 1, Oscar ended up losing. They actually gave Oscar De La Hoya the number 1 spot after his controversial win over Pernell Whitaker. Getting back to the list. Now, the reason why I want to show you 2006, because this is the year before Oscar De La Hoya bought the company, the Ring Magazine. So as you can see, the list is number 1, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Winky Wright, Jermaine Taylor, Bernard Hopkins, Marco Barrera, Rafael Marquez, Ricky Hatton, Jose Luis Castillo, and Joe Calzaghe coming in at number 10. Now, guys, going all the way back to 1994, almost every single pound for pound list that was put up, the majority of the boxers on that list were black. And that makes sense because black American boxers in particular have been dominating the sport since the inception. By the way, the list you guys are looking at right now on the screen is 2003's list. Now we fast forward to the first year after Oscar De La Hoya bought the Ring Magazine. Look at the stark contrast, guys. Now they only have 1 black American boxer on the entire list, as if black boxers have gone extinct. If you'll notice, the list looks very similar to the way the Ring Magazine list looked today. Coincidentally, Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson are both the Ring Magazine champions, and yet neither one of them are on the Ring's pound for pound list. Stephen Fulton, who is clearly pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, is also not on their list, but I know he is. Now listen, even though Oscar De La Hoya, he's the one that owns the company, I'm not saying he's making the list or putting this list together himself, but he's definitely responsible because of the fact that it's people that work underneath him. Clearly, he has some of his associates, some of his close friends that he hired just to give a job to, and they're the ones that's putting together this egregious list. But what really impacted the game was social media. Social media is what changed everything. There's no doubt about it, social media is a gift and a curse. Social media, it gives everyone a voice. It gives everyone a platform, regardless if it's a big platform or a small platform. But the problem is, when it gives people this platform, it also gives the racist people a platform. And this is how you get lists like this. This is how it becomes much easier for old media, people like ESPN, to mislead the public, lie to the public completely. telling the fans that Teofimo Lopez is undisputed, George Kambosos is undisputed. And knowing once they say this, the racist fans, they're going to take it and run with it and push the propaganda. But the most powerful weapon against their agenda is a microphone. Old media, they use numbers to push their agenda. So people that are against racism, the anti-racist people and the real boxing fans that want to see justice and want to see people get the credit they deserve, we have to expose them with numbers as well. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.